This is Weirdly Enough, your regular podcast for strange stories and amazing facts, delivered straight to your favorite podcast directory and at weirdlyenough.com. Now, here are your hosts, Andy and Len.
Yes, indeed, and welcome back to Weirdly Enough. We've been away for a little bit of time. I got the old COVID thing, and it was alright. Didn't feel too great, and then we just decided to take a few weeks off as a bit of a break, bit of a what is it they call it at school? Midterm, half term?
Well, I was going to call it a hiatus.
Oh, hiatus, yes.
A hiatus, yeah.
So we're back for kind of what you might consider the summer term if you were at school.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll broadcast from now. Well, we will take a break over the summer months and be back again, but before then, Weirdly Enough has a lot of great and fun things to look into, a lot of weird and wonderful things. Remember, you can find us, we're on the social medias. We're on Facebook, just search for Weirdly Enough Podcast. Weirdly Enough PC is our Twitter handle, or if you've got any weird or interesting facts, you can always email us. It's podcast at weirdlyenough.com. Weirdlyenough.com, of course, is where you can find all our old archive shows, or you can like and subscribe to our content anywhere you get your podcast. So today, what are we talking about then?
I just want to check something. This is season 3 still, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. So there was one season that was very, very short because of COVID again.
Because I believe this is episode 22.
Is it? Right. Well, we'll have to.
I think it is.
Yeah, I'll have to look up online. But you might be right. Yeah. And what is episode 22 about?
It's a strange one. It's a thing that's been on the back burner for about 2 years now.
Well, they're always strange ones with you, aren't they?
Well, I suppose I don't even know why I'm saying that. It's kind of the whole point of the podcast, isn't it? They're all supposed to be strange. If it wasn't strange, it wouldn't really be getting on it. But it's a thing I came across. It was sort of a conspiracy du jour about 2 years ago, before the old cough and sneeze kicked off, you know.
Sneeze, yes.
And now we've got the old nuclear annihilation on the go, like, you know.
Yeah, it's out of the frying pan into the fire. I think I'd rather go back to the COVID.
Yeah.
Sitting around feeling miserable.
I'm sort of damping in the mood away, but like, aren't I?
Yeah.
I'm sort of damping in
what
the
would
mood
you
away.
rather have, nuclear annihilation or COVID?
The coffins. Oh, what?
Where you could go to the pub and...
Well, you see, the thing about the cough and sneeze is, okay, you can't go to the pub. But you can still see your chums in parks. Mind you, some of us would have always have been meeting up with our chums in parks.
Yes.
But that's a different story. But you see, you got Deliveroo, and you got those, those little. Because I used to tune in every day when I was working from home to, like the wee presentations they used to give. Next slide, please.
Oh, yes. That was
Next
very
slide,
good,
please.
yes.
That used to be the highlight of the day.
Of course.
Back in April and May of 2020.
Before socialising, and indeed I intend to continue it. Before COVID, I used to socialise exclusively in parks late at night with a bottle of White Lightning on a bench. It was great.
It reminds me of the great Gary Newman down in the park.
Down in the park. I was out a walk last weekend, and there was it was about 7:30 in the morning. There were two lads sitting on a park bench, drinking from cans. I thought, are they starting really early, or is that last night? I think it was probably last night.
Probably last night, I would say.
Yeah.
Those were certainly days. But yes, something I wanted to do, but our timeline of the podcast got sort of messed up because with the first lockdown.
Yeah.
So everything sort of got derailed away, but I decided to hold on to it and keep it on the back burner because I think it was well worth one to go back on. It's a bit of a weird one. It starts in January 2016 when there was mysterious posts appearing on a blog called GlamisCalling.org.
Right. Okay.
Can we bring this up? Because I just want to check if this is actually still there.
Glamis Calling.
It's GlamisCalling.org.
GLAMOUS.
You know Glamis Castle?
Yeah.
So GlamisCalling.org. I just want to see if it's still on the go.
GLAMOUS Calling.
See if it comes up.
It's...
Yes, that's the
not
one.
Spelled the way I did. But yes,
Glamis
it's a blog
Calling.
about Glamis Castle in Scotland, I believe, is that? Yeah.
And it purports to be a communication from something called the World Governing Council. And the story is it's run by this person called Somerset Belenoff, who is apparently the Countess of Banbury Arran,
Right.
who was born 1st of May 1953. By the way, 1st of May is a highly significant date.
Why?
In the occult calendar.
1st of May. Well, May Day. It's
It's also Beltane.
Beltane. What's Beltane?
Well, it's basically on April the 30th is what they call Valpurgisnacht.
Right, okay.
Which is the night of the witches. That's when all the witches come together and they meet and they do diabolical things. And then sort of Beltane is sort of the day after, sort of going forward into that.
Okay.
As featured in The Wicker Man.
Yes.
The Wicker Man that takes place on the 1st of May.
Ah. Yeah.
And it's a day of sort of fertility rites and stuff like that, you know.
All the May Day jumping around the maypole.
Which is, as we know, the maypole is basically a giant phallus, basically.
Yeah.
So it's all very symbolic. But anyway, we'll not go down that. It's better in the day to be talking about that. But yep, she's born the 1st of May 1953.
It's a she then.
It's a she, yes. Yeah. Somerset Belenoff.
Could that be a male or female name, Somerset, do you think?
That's a good point, I'd say. I would have thought it has a female quality about it, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it seems more fitting for a woman
Somerset
to be called. Well, right enough, there was that writer called Somerset Maugham.
Yeah.
He was a bloke, so I don't know. Anyway, basically.
Well, it says, Somerset's a boy's name. Like, there, right. It's a boy's name, so there you go. So, but it can also, I assume, be a girl's name.
I stand corrected, said the man in the orthopedic surgery.
But Alan Partridgeism.
Are we allowed to make jokes like that anymore? Maybe it's not.
It's not the done thing.
It's not the done thing.
I think we've been cancelled so many times from so many different broadcasting organisations.
Yes.
Some of which are still hanging in there.
We're due for a good counselling. But basically, allegedly, she's been described as the queen of the Illuminati.
Okay.
By researchers.
She's not self-styled Queen of the Illuminati.
Well, put this way, there's doubt to whether that still actually exists or not. But you know what I mean?
I think you might be cancelled for referring to a member of the female gender as a doll.
Oh, right, yes. That's a bit sexist, right enough.
Yes.
Misogynistic. Apparently, she's the great-great-great-granddaughter of Queen Victoria, and she's said to have a personal fortune estimated to be at least $14 billion, which are apparently her mining and property assets from her industrialist father.
But then that's peanuts these days compared to some of them. That's what that Jeff Bezos guy makes in a month.
No, I'll come out and say this. I think this is a lot of old toad.
Okay.
And I don't subscribe to the fact that she's like, you know, the queen of it, because she doesn't exist. A cursory bit of actual proper research demonstrates that she doesn't exist. But I like it anyway.
But when has research ever come in the way of conspiracy theories?
Well, exactly. But you see, I approach it from a different angle. I still like it because it's a good what they call an ARG, which is an alternate reality game, an underweb parlance.
Yeah.
Basically, and I like it from the point of view of a work of fiction. It's quite fascinating.
Yes. From
that point of view, because I like all the little mysterious communications. Like there's little quotes like this site serves as the official external communication vehicle for the World Governing Council and the Wetton Upper Chamber. Mm-hmm. If you've been directed here for instruction, note that most messages are intentionally obscure. Underlying messages alternate between kestrel and tangenter nodes.
Is that supposed to make sense?
Apparently so.
Okay, right.
So it's they're alternating between kestrel and tangenter nodes.
Yes.
If you have difficulty understanding a particular message, you may reach out to Luxembourg Cathedral on node 9 of the Forgotten Frequency. You know the Forgotten Frequency?
Yeah. Oh, is that like CB radio?
I don't know. You see, that's what I find.
People don't use it anymore.
But if we can go back to the site, because embedded in the blog are what purport to be audio clips from the other side.
Okay.
Either from correspondence who have passed on or from the past. Yeah. So is there any we can bring up there? Any kind of spooky?
Well, let's see. It's your traditional blog.
It's a very old school blog, isn't it?
Yeah. At the direction of Glamis, Mr. Clover has been recalled to Brussels and will not be travelling to DC in the foreseeable future. As Cam Night is now in effect, Access to all frequencies is revoked, and Luxembourg Cathedral is implementing cold silence over Washington until further notice. Have a care and honour your sacred duty.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds sinister AF. Is what it sounds like.
What it sounds like is someone trying to make up something that looks like code for spies.
Yes.
But really, it's just a young boy in a box bedroom.
In his mother's back bedroom.
Not dissimilar to this one. Yeah. Just typing away.
With his
and fair play to
I'd say if that's the case, fair play to him, you know, because
Yeah.
again, as a work of fiction, it's quite impressive. But yeah, there's audio clips from the other side. And another one, when searching into the past, this is another quote: to find valid information, we're sometimes able to connect momentarily using vibe-sat technology developed by our Bedlam team.
Okay.
This is possible when vibrational parity exists between planes.
Right. Yeah.
Many thanks to our friends from Bedlam who have given so much that we might advance so far. Special thanks to Miss Vanessa Payne, who made the ultimate sacrifice and continues to assist us from her new assignment location on the lower astral. Your work, your talents, and your dedication are all noted and much appreciated. So apparently this doll, Vanessa Payne, Miss Payne, Payne, by the sound of it, has volunteered to sacrifice herself to go onto another plane of existence to kind of communicate back, by the sound of it.
I have found a message here dating from March 2019. Johan Pastor and Vanessa Payne have independently confirmed the arrival of Ambassador Kim Hoi Chol from the lower astral. The ambassador appears to have been executed at Murrum Airport several days ago and reaches out to our contacts on either side of the veil. News organisations will not report immediately.
Ooh, that's pretty spooky.
So that, I think that's an ambassador from another dimension that's coming to...
I'm assuming so. I think he was maybe like a North Korean bloke.
Right.
That was like executed by Kim Jong-il.
Yeah.
And he's now on the, you know, like the lower astral, which is another plane of existence.
Is the Murrum Airport a real place?
I think it is, yeah.
Right.
Now, there's a YouTube channel called the Somerset Belenoff Dark Web Collection.
Okay.
So if you have a quick look at that, I think there's some quite spooky recordings on that. Where's Murrum Airport?
It's in Pyongyang.
Ah, yes, because I remember that. I think it was that guy that was executed by the regime.
Right, and he was actually an ambassador for here for this or whatever.
Oh, right, yeah.
We're talking about.
But you know, I even though this is a little tout,
yes,
it's quite interesting. I quite like what they've done.
What is it on YouTube?
It's the Somerset Belenoff Dark Web Collection. So if I can bring that up, I mean, this is sort of, you know, this is a new form of storytelling. This is
Somerset Belenoff.
I think this might be it. Yeah.
Doesn't dark web audio files. There you go. We're not going to play these just in case there's any copyright restrictions. But there you go. There's quite the thing there. There's 76 subscribers to this channel.
Even more than us.
The dark web Dance of Insanity collection.
Right. What does that involve?
Some sort of weird dance thing. It's good to see that they're putting adverts up. They're making a wee bit. Bit of
ad. Oh god, that's pretty freaky.
This is the dance.
I haven't even watched this, by the way. This is going new to me. This is the Dance of Insanity.
It doesn't actually dance. It just
stands there looking sinister.
Looks like a child's coloured that in. There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
Somerset Belenoff.
And for an introduction into what Glamorous Calling is all about, there's a deep dive into this at www.whoissomersetbelenoff.com.
Okay.
And recently they had a bit of trouble because in January 2020, whoissomersetbelenoff.com went offline for several days on the 13th of January 2020. On the 13th of January 2020, they posted up an update to explain what was going on, and it said, "We are back online after experiencing a temporary disruption, within hours of our site becoming inaccessible. We were not able to access our own website. One of the researchers for this site received a text message that read the following. It said, your site is down. Kindly remove the photo of Zara Tabrizi from your staff tab, because they did an outline of all the alleged stuff.
Right. Yes.
Of Glamis.
Yes.
You know.
Okay.
And remove the reference to Talia Sunil, and it was signed off by S. Ling. Now, it says, we've done that and we apologise to our readers for this disruption. We don't believe we would have been able to come back online if we hadn't complied. It's worth noting that the researcher who was contacted via text had only recently obtained the phone, and it was a burner phone. So somehow
they knew.
They were able to locate them on their burner. Now, there's various sort of sinister incidents that allegedly happened surrounding Glamis Calling. On the 7th of February 2018, the following message appeared on the website, glamiscalling.org. It says, all towers and stations, Abel Wolf has gone to ground. Summon Lord Chaos and release the Hounds of Havoc.
Right. What date was this?
7th of February 2018.
Right.
So I wonder if that's still up.
Abel Wolf has gone to ground. Summon Lord Chaos and release the Hounds of Havoc.
That sounds pretty impressive, Lord Chaos.
Yeah.
A win would have been the wrong side of the Hounds of Havoc.
Yes, I know.
Then on the 5th of May 2018, the following message was posted. All towers and stations, Project Abel Wolf was concluded. On the 4th of May, the Hounds of Havoc overtook their prey. 3 traitorous delegates, their souls released, were placed on cold steel rails to wit the 115. Many thanks to Lord Chaos, for the butchery was exquisite. And a fine example was provided to all. And this is something that they always say. They always sign off. Debate is required, respectful dissent is allowed, and treachery is a death sentence.
One thing going through this blog site, this Glamis Castle, there's quite a lot of instructions to NASA and other space agencies. This one on the 9th of April 2019, you have the green light to launch Napalm Sat 1 after April 15th.
Because they're ruling the world, you say?
Yeah.
What's the most recent entry on that?
Well, it's 2021. There's another one there. You have green light. This was to Satish Dhawan Space Center, I think in Indian Space Center. Green light for January 20th launch of IRNSS 1E. So the latest was April 2021. Arundel, you have Vibe Sat and may proceed.
That's kind of weird. Yes, the website says that this whole thing, Project Abelwolf, it alleges this refers to 3 bankers who had plotted to sabotage Miss Belenoff's private jet in early February 2018. The story is that the bankers' bodies have been discovered on the 4th of May 2018 on a railway line near Los Angeles. They had supposedly been struck by the 115 commuter train. And in the summer of 2018, YouTube removed the channel of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. He was taken, do you remember that? He was taken off YouTube. Shortly before this, on the 27th of July 2018, the following message was posted in Glamis Calling. And it says as follows. The upper chamber has decided Mr. Jones has ranted long enough, and it's time to remove his platforms. Apple, Google, and others who host his material execute calm night. I'm getting a bit worried.
What was this?
This was, let's see, it's all about the dates, you say. 27th of July 2018, which was shortly before he was taken off.
But then you could alter blog dates, couldn't you?
Well, you could, yes. This is it. Yeah, this is it. But if this is true, I mean, there are cases of people who apparently have interacted with us and they've received sort of sinister messages. So I don't know. It's quite been an interesting experiment to try and make contact with them. You know, what does that say? Lady Janet Douglas.
Then there's this one about is the opinion of Glamis and the upper chamber that Mr. Sarif, who's the Prime Minister of Pakistan, is not qualified to serve. Please ensure your ruling reflects our own judgment on the matter. But he is still in, isn't it? Sarif.
We'll have to check.
Yeah.
According to the late Peter Graham, who was Led Zeppelin's manager, the song Stairway to Heaven is about Somerset Belenoff.
Right.
He allegedly told Melody Maker that the lyrics about the May Queen refer directly to Miss Belenoff, and she is the lady who's buying the Stairway to Heaven. Right. In the 1960s, she was known in the London scene as the May Queen, most likely because 1st of May is her birthday, and she's a sort of magical, carefree, regal person. You see, on a skeptical note, if you were running a sinister secret organisation, would you be using a WordPress blog?
Yeah, well, maybe.
You know, it seems about, you know, seems about. So what's the is he still?
Oh, wait, Imran Khan became Prime Minister of Pakistan August 2018, and this was put up July 2017. So maybe they were you know, preempting it. Yeah.
They thought, put this guy on.
Maybe from this little silly blog, they're running the world, really, aren't they?
I would love to get in contact with these people and see if they reacted. Cease and desist, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson has ranted enough.
I wish they had more up to date kind of, you know, stuff. There's not much mention of.
They managed to track with COVID.
Yeah.
COVID, yeah, I mean, and the current unpleasantness in the Eastern Front. You know, that could have been a rich source of. It could all be an elaborate prank or marketing for an alternate reality game or some work of fiction.
Yeah.
Be good to write a work of fiction based around us, wouldn't it?
It could, yeah.
Yeah, it could be quite interesting, sort of.
Write a book based on
latter day sort of James Bond type thing. But there's members of somewhere in that site, I can't remember which, but there's pictures of what here allegedly the staff of Glamis and the whole Somerset Belenoff setup.
Yeah.
And they look to me like, you know, those sort of artificial reality generated images you get.
Oh yeah.
If you ever check out that website, thispersondoesnotexist.com, which is really freaky because some of the people, if you ever look that up, some of them are quite convincing.
This person does not exist.com. Yes. It's coming up.
You see, that looks like a blog, but apparently he doesn't exist.
He doesn't exist.
But he looks like, again,
are they just amalgamations of people?
But yeah, it's completely artificially generated. I mean, that just looks like a guy, like, doesn't it? he looks more real than I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is kind of worrying, like.
But I would say it's like, I don't know how they did. It's freaking me out.
It is freaking me out.
Yeah. So is there anything more about Lady Belenoff?
I think that's maybe most of it.
Is there a quote from Vladimir Putin there?
There is, yes. He says, I fear only three things in this world: Lady Belenoff, illness and death, in that order.
In that order, yeah.
Says Vladimir Putin. And I think that's about it. But I mean, that's just, you know, it's definitely. I would maybe, you know, if you're listening and you have time, you could maybe get into the kind of various freaky recordings and sounds that are on that side, you know.
We'll have to have a look, and especially the YouTube stuff too. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Very good. Thank you. We'll be back with our weird shorts in just a moment. Well, it's nice to be back again here with Weirdly Enough on our Weird Shorts. This is a podcast that comes out every Friday after the main podcast on a Monday. Of course, you can listen to it as well as part of the Monday's podcast. It comes out every week when we can get together and record it. It doesn't happen every week because well, as you see, we're away for a little bit of time there, but we're back.
I like to think it brightens up people's Mondays.
Oh yes.
You know, on their boring commutes, or if they're in their little cubicles in the office and they're listening to the kind of muffled kind of screams of despair, from their fellow worker drones.
Yeah, it's good to be able to provide them a little bit of succor,
a little bit of excitement, you know.
Their workaday lives.
Is there a way we can format this so that if it does happen, if the bomb does drop, there's some way we could keep people entertained in their inner refuge.
This should just play out on a loop on every FM station. You know, you don't need you don't need what's the word, information broadcast. About what to do now that the bombs have dropped. You just need us. You just need this going around and around and around.
You see, I find that quite comforting because in the event that I was reduced to dust, floating in the upper atmosphere, my spirit would go on through the medium of the podcast.
Podcasts.
You know? Just endlessly in a loop.
Podcasts never die, of course.
Yeah.
So
podcast for life. Yeah.
A few weeks back we were talking about Doug. It was a giant potato, and he was set to break the Guinness World Records for the biggest potato ever.
Cosmic, yeah.
He was grown by Donna and Colin Craig Brown in New Zealand. However, his hopes of achieving fame were dashed when scientists carried out DNA profiling on Doug and found that it was actually the tuber of a gourd and not a potato at all.
What is a gourd? I've heard of gourds before.
I was going to go and look it up, and then I thought, I can't be bothered. This is weirdly enough. This is the short thing, so it's a gourd anyway. It's not a potato. Dr. Samantha Baldwin from New Zealand's Plant and Food Research Organisation confirmed Doug wasn't a potato. He just wasn't behaving as a potato should.
How should it behave?
I think they mean the DNA profile.
Oh, right, okay.
So how should it behave? That's the big question. Yeah, just sit there.
I think the humble spud doesn't get enough respect.
Yeah, I know.
It's the most versatile of vegetables.
A lot of people say it's not a vegetable. It's a starch.
It is a vegetable.
It is. Of course it is. And have you ever heard of a drone search and rescue team?
No, but
it's a thing nowadays. Apparently, there's a lot of them around. So they search for people and objects, I suppose, by drone. They don't have to put a helicopter up. They just put some.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Egypt with a wee drone. It's lucky for a dog called Millie, who had been out for a walk on a beach near Portsmouth when she ventured on the mud flats. Things were looking quite desperate for Millie as the tide started to rise, threatening to sweep her out to sea and prompting a rescue effort to swing into action. This rescue actually went on for quite a bit of time. It lasted 4 days, with police, firefighters and Coast Guard all trying to rescue the dog, and they ended up scratching their heads as they couldn't think of a way to get her. They even tried kayaking, but that didn't work. That's when the chairman of the Denmead Drone Search and Rescue Team, a Mr. Chris Taylor, jumped into action. Mr. Taylor told The Guardian, one of the local residents on the beach where they were flying from supplied us with sausages. He thinks they were from Aldi. It's important to find out where they were from, of course. Yeah. The woman cooked them up for us, and we attached them to a string under the drone. So they dried sausages, and this is when it starts to get a bit technical, because they had to work out the maximum takeoff weight of the drone. But they found that the sausages weren't too heavy, and they could fly with them. The rescue was successful, and the dog followed the sausages and was guided to a safe area of the beach.
So there's little drone trailing sausages.
Yes.
That must have been a sight to behold.
It must have. And have you ever had to go to a party with a fake Prince Charming?
No.
You see, if you did this, it bears the question, how do you travel with such an item? So it's like a cardboard fake Prince Charming.
I mean,
you travel with
I haven't been to a party since 1975.
Yeah. So I haven't had a good evening for 15 years.
More like 35 years.
it would be very easy for the Prince to become damaged in transit. So careful packaging is required. And what better way than to wrap your fake Prince in a carpet? So you get your fake cardboard Prince, you wrap him up in a carpet, okay? I know you're looking a bit confused here. Well, it sounded...
How's this? How are you going to get in a taxi with a big rolled up carpet and a fake Prince?
I think they were driving themselves.
Oh, right.
This was a motorist driving along the M11 motorway in England, and it prompted a call to Cambridgeshire police, who were deployed to track down the vehicle and find out what was wrapped up in the carpet. They thought it was a body. Members of the public phoned the police because they thought the dummy was a dead body. The police did understand fire alarm bells started to ring as a pair of feet were poking out at the end of the rolled up carpet. However, they were glad to report that this was a false alarm, but they did give the driver a bit of a talking to. But what did they say? Don't be carrying dead bodies or things that look like dead bodies wrapped in carpets. Is that what they're saying?
It's bizarre.
So if you're bringing a Prince Charming to to a party or any other fake person, just anyway, we'll move on.
It seems like more trouble than what it's worth, to be honest.
And staying on the subject of police for now, have you heard of this game Pokemon Go?
Yes.
It's augmented reality. It's like an AI thing. That's artificial intelligence, isn't it? Well, this is AR. Augmented reality.
It was a big thing a few years ago, but it seems to have been revived again.
Well, this is a thing where you have it on your phone. My nephew, who was about 8, 9 when it came out, he started doing it, and you go around with your phone and you collect these things that aren't really there, but they are on the phone, and I don't know, on the app. But my brother-in-law got really into it, and I think he enjoyed playing it more than my actual nephew. He was out walking around trying to pick up Pikachus and whatever they were. Well, 2 officers for the Los Angeles Police Department were fired because they ignored a robbery in progress because they were away playing Pokemon Go. And this is according to recently released court papers. It happened on a busy Saturday in April 2017. Remember the pre-pandemic days?
Those more innocent times.
Yeah, when a call came through on the police radio that a robbery was in progress of a Macy's department store with multiple suspects. Luis Lozano and Eric Mitchell tried to say that they couldn't hear the incident over the police radio, but later their commanding officer reviewed the DIVCS. This is a digital in-car video system that captured just exactly what happened during the call. After reviewing footage, it was clear both officers heard the call but ignored it because they were so wrapped up in playing Pokemon Go. Video footage then showed the 2 officers driving around Los Angeles where they collected 2 rare Pokemon. One of the officers was so cock-a-hoop with his discovery that he remarked, "The guys are gonna be so jealous." I think that's probably more New York. Anyway, he transferred in. He later said before remarking, "I got you a new Pokemon today, dude. I got me a new Pokemon."
Oh, God.
And on that bombshell, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. And what are we talking about next week?
Celebrity UFO hunters.
Celebrity UFO hunters. There must be plenty of podcasts about that, and we will add to that big podcast bin in the sky as well. Thank you for listening. Remember, check out weirdlyenough.com for all our archive material.
Thanks for listening to Weirdly Enough. Remember to subscribe to get the latest edition as soon as it drops. And don't forget to leave a review. Email us about anything we've discussed or with your own weird tale at podcast@weirdlyenough.com.